Well, one final time, we come to you from Carelli's of Boulder for Buffs Primetime. It's our final show. That's where you all groan. Thank you. There we go. You got to lead the crowd out there. Yeah. Our final show, though, the 2024-25 campaign. We come to you from Carelli's here for Buffs Primetime, talking Colorado basketball. The head coach Tad Boyle alongside. Since the women, by the way, continue to win in Kansas City for the tournament, which they did earlier today in a tight game over Arizona. Yeah, give them a round of applause. So nice job by J.R. Painting Company. They've won 2 straight games now the last couple of days. They'll play the third one coming up tomorrow. During that segment, Danny Manning is going to join us. So we got Danny in the house, assistant coach for the Buffaloes. And then our player guest tonight is Javon Ruffin coming up. And I'm looking forward to having Danny on here because I want to find out exactly. You've lied to us for years about what kind of player you are. So Danny's going to tell us what kind of player.
No, don't ask. Don't ask. Ask him what kind of player he was.
Well, no, we all know what kind of player he was.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Yeah.
Buffs coming off a game last night down in Lubbock, Texas. We got there just after the windstorm and the dust storm, by the way. And last night you end up falling against the number 9 team in the country, getting ready for TCU regular season finale coming up on Saturday. What's your postscript on one last night down in Lubbock?
Well, look. It's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 15,000 people there.
Yep.
Lubbock's a kind of a sneaky little good college basketball
really
town.
is, yeah.
You know, I spent 6 years in Wichita, and I always felt like Wichita State is a sneaky, really good basketball town. Just they really love their team, and there's not a whole lot of extracurricular things to
Exactly
do.
right. Yep.
And so they come out, whether it's a Wednesday night or a Sunday afternoon or whatever, and they support their team. And we get there usually about an hour and 45 minutes before the game, Mark, and we walk out. I always like to walk out just kind of see what the arena's like, and you see the shoot around. But then but the students were pretty much all there, like 90 minutes before the game. So it was a great environment. They do a good job with their game day atmosphere, and add to the fact that they've got a hell of a team. JT Toppin he's the real deal. Like, you watch guys on film and you have an appreciation for them, or sometimes you underestimate them. And I wouldn't say we underestimated him, but the fact of the matter is he's the real deal.
Yep.
Like, he's really played himself into a good position. I have no idea what kind of a NBA prospect he is. That's not my business, but he's a hell of a college basketball player. I can tell you
He's
that.
in the conversation for Player of the Year in the Big 12.
Absolutely, he is.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like the best player on the best team probably should get Player of the Year. And I'm actually going to vote tomorrow as we go through the Big 12 ballot in terms of like all league Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, that sort of thing. And I'm a little conflicted because I think after playing, JT Toppin's the best player in the league.
He's very
but
good.
I really believe that the big kid, the big lefty and his name escapes me now, from Houston.
From Hugh Cryer? Yeah.
Yeah, Cryer's the guard, but
that's right, yeah.
the big lefty forward, he's a hell of a player, and he's the best player on their team, I think. And he was the difference in the game here in Boulder against us. But there's a lot of good players in this league, and it's interesting because I don't know how many. It's going to be. I'll be anxious to see 5 years from now how many players in the Big 12 this year that are seniors or that make let's say the first team All Big 12 team. How many of those guys are going to be NBA players?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. We, as you know, we've been in the Pac-12 the last 13 years, and usually you could tell, okay, that guy's an NBA dude, that guy's an NBA dude. In the Big 12, you've got some guys that are, really good college players. Don't know if they're NBA players or not, but that doesn't diminish what they've accomplished, during that season at all.
And you touch on something I think is kind of interesting. I think a lot of times a fan will watch and think, well, that guy's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously going to translate.
Right.
And that's not necessarily. Then other guys you look at and think, well, I don't know about him. And all of a sudden you find out he turns out to be a great. Zach LaVine's a great example. Barely played at UCLA when he was there. Ends up being a great player in the NBA.
I mean,
so
no question about it.
Yeah.
Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell was a good player at Stanford. So you're exactly right. And you look at us last year. Cody Williams. People think, oh boy, he's not. He's an NBA talent. There's no doubt about it. Now he's just the fact of the matter is he's 18 years old. So you're not going to see what you want to see from him as an 18-year-old, but as a 22-year-old, that kid's going to be
Oh, yes.
off the charts. So that's what's interesting about our business right now, and it's interesting because to have success as a college team, a college program, you want those guys that are older, that are good college players. I mean, obviously you'd love a guy that's older that's an NBA player, but that doesn't happen because they're leaving.
Yeah.
And like think about this team this year with KJ Simpson on it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And I always look at last year's team that won 26 games and 2 NCAA tournament. What about that team with Jabari Walker on it?
Yes.
Yeah. And how about the other night? How about last night?
Did you see? I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Did you guys see it? So the Celtics play Portland, and Derek White had 41 points, a career high, and 6 rebounds and 3 assists and a couple blocks or something. And then Bari had 16, I think?
He had 22.
Oh, he had 22. Okay.
He was 6 for 6 from 3.
Okay.
But I almost texted Chauncey tonight, but he was on the losing end, so I didn't do that. I was like, what a great night for the Buffs, but I felt bad for him.
And KJ's playing very well right now.
KJ's playing well. Tristan's in the rotation. So a lot of good things are happening. Alec Burks has had an unbelievable career. So, it's I don't know if we've talked about it, Mark. I've slept through a lot of these shows, but
yes, you have, by the way.
The Wall of Honor, 5 guys are up there right now, and there's going to be another 5, next year that come back, and Chauncey's going to be one of them, and so it's been pretty cool to watch those guys develop as NBA players and have those guys their careers, you watch them develop before your eyes, like Derek White. It's pretty cool.
Yep. Alec Burks has put together a fantastically long career, huh?
Yeah, he really has.
He was what was he in his 3rd year when you got here?
No, first he was second year.
Second year.
Yeah,
Second year when he got here.
Because he was here 2 years, one for Coach Bizdelic and one for us, and then and he was a special talent, and he's carved out his niche, in the NBA, and what's great about Alec is I'll never forget this. Like we would go, we're on the road. It's not like we're eating at Ruth Chris Steakhouse or but we have pretty good meals, and we go. And I'm one of those coaches that you go on the road more so in the Pac-12 than the Big 12, because the Big 12 you're in and out of cities, but the Pac-12 you're in LA for 2 or 3 nights, and hey, let's get out of the hotel, let's have a nice meal, and you go to a decent restaurant, and they can order steak or seafood or whatever, and I remember.
And by the way, not to interrupt him here, but by the way, in the middle day between the 2 games, you only got dessert if the team won the night before.
No question.
Yeah,
no question.
So when there was no dessert in that middle night, boy, I was not happy with all the players. I'll tell you that much.
But you snuck out and got ice cream.
That's right, I did.
Back when you were eating ice cream,
That's right, exactly right.
Exactly. But I would walk by Alec, and he would order chicken fingers and French fries. Like we would be at a very nice restaurant. It's like, Alec, get a filet, get a New York strip, get some salmon, no, Coach, chicken. And I said, next year you'll figure it out when you're in the NBA. So it's funny when he came back. I think it was his 2nd year when he was back for a game or whatever. And I said, Alec, you still eating chicken fingers and French fries? He goes, occasionally, but I've changed my diet. And he had to change his diet to stay in the NBA for 13 or 14 years, whatever it's been. But it's really nice to see guys like that when you see them as 18-year-old kids or 19-year-old kids eating chicken, and then you see them, 12 years later, and they've got 3 kids, and they had an unbelievable NBA career, and they've matured so much in so many ways. It's really cool.
He's really turned out, as you mentioned, a nice niche. He's a veteran player. He's a great locker room guy, great roster guy. He can score, right? He's instant points off the bench.
He can score now.
And so he's just one of those guys late in his career. It's like, you want to come play for us? We'll give you $10 million. All right, fantastic. Let's do it, right?
Why not? No, he's smart.
Yeah.
He's smart. He's really anyway, so seeing guys like that, that's what it's all about.
How often do you try and communicate with the guys that are playing?
They're busy. And obviously during the season we're busy. I'd probably do it more in the off season than I do it during the season. But if I see him have a good game or I watch the box score, and I'll shoot him a text here and there, and but I try not to bother him. The biggest thing for me is I want him to come back. I want him to bring, like with Alec, I said, you got to get your kids back. And next year will be great because they'll be able to come back and see his jersey unveiled. But like, come back for a football game and bring your kids down and watch Ralphie run, and and have them show them around campus and where you used to hang out and that sort of thing, where you used to live. That's what's neat about going back. It's funny, now that we're back in the Big 12, going back to Lawrence, Kansas, I wish we were playing there in March because, boy, the day we were there, it was so cold. But I wanted to go for a walk on campus, and I did finally.
Right.
But it was just I didn't go for a very long one.
Just to view the old haunts. And,
Yeah, and you walk down the street, and the memories just come
Sure.
flooding back, and that's what I want. That's what I want our players that we've coached, or that even that we haven't coached, to come back. To me, that's what the college experience is all about. It's creating memories. It's creating relationships, whether it's with alumni or people in the community, or maybe you met your wife there and you got married. Like just those memories that are so special that sometimes I think in today's
we're losing.
They're losing it,
Yeah.
and not every kid's losing it, but some of them
Right.
are. And when
Right.
you watch a kid that's been in 3 campuses in 3 years, they're not going to have that like we've had it. And I don't want to sound like an old guy, but that's the one thing that I think I appreciate. I know
Sure.
when I go back to Lawrence, Kansas, and because that's where I spent my 4 years.
Well, last week we had Julian Hammond on.
Yes.
He's going to walk out of here
He's
with
gonna
that kind
walk
of
outta
thing.
here.
Tonight we're going to have Javon. He's
Yep.
going to walk out of here with that kind of
Absolutely.
thing because they've been here,
Yeah.
they grew up here, they see it. That's one of
Yeah.
the things we are missing and I think are losing in college athletics. It's our final Buffs primetime of the season. We're here at Carelli's tonight. They've been a great host for a number of years. In fact,
Absolutely.
for the entire time Tad's been here. In fact,
Yes.
give Carelli's a big round of applause. They do a great job. Best restaurant, we always say, in Boulder, Colorado. One more segment with Tad. We'll do that after a quick timeout. Danny Manning to come. Javon Ruffin will join us as well here tonight as we continue on Buffs Primetime after a break. This is Colorado basketball from Learfield. Back once again on Bus Prime Time here at Carelli's of Boulder. Thursday nights we're out here. It's our final show of the season. Colorado wrapping up the regular campaign on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. TCU coming to town. One more segment with Tad Boyle. And then we got Danny Manning and Javon Ruffin are going to come up and join us on the program. 5 guys are going to have Senior Day celebrations this weekend. And that's always an emotional time. I'm just going to throw their names. You just give me a comment or two about each guy. Jack Pease.
Oh, Jack Pease. Phenomenal kid.
Yeah.
You know, he's I remember when we played he's from the Dallas area. We played TCU down there a few weeks ago, whenever it was, and walking out to the bus, and after a tough loss, and then I see Jack talking to his parents. I hadn't had a chance to meet his parents yet, and so I went up and he introduced me, and I just I looked at them and said, "You've raised a phenomenal young man."
Great
I mean,
kid.
he's
Yep.
success written all over him. He's one of those guys that can't wait to see where life takes him, but I know it's going to take him somewhere good because he's a special kid.
He really is. Trevor Baskin.
Trevor Baskin, one of the most enjoyable young men I think I've ever coached. He really is. He's got a great spirit about him. I feel bad for Trevor in the sense that he came here with certain expectations and illusions, and we did too, and he's had a good year. I was looking at our stats today. He's really rebounded the ball well for us. Obviously, he's had some really good games for us, but just a guy that's again has success written all over him. I'm anxious to see where he goes from here. I know he wants to continue playing basketball, and I think he will. It's been a learning experience for him, and it's been a learning experience for us in terms of coaching him. But wonderful, wonderful young man.
He's one of those guys you've referenced with Derek White. You would love to see the old rules where you sat for a year and then played.
No question.
He'd have a much better year number 2 after learning for a year at this
Absolutely he would. Yeah. Absolutely he would. There's no question about it. But that's just not the way the game operates now, and so that's just the way it goes. But I really, really enjoy Trevor. I've said this before, like losing, stinks.
Yeah.
I wanted to use a different word.
That's all right.
But
we know what you're
it stinks.
Yeah.
But when you lose with good kids, at least you can feel like, these guys are about the right things. And to me, Trevor Baskin and Jack Pease are about the right things, as all of them are.
Yeah. Andre Yakimowski.
Yeah, Andre's another one, a guy that we've competed against for 4 years that came here, could have gone to a lot of different places, but really believed in us, believed in our staff, believed in our program, and we believed in him, and I still believe in him. He's a wonderful young guy that, certain guys may not have the amount of success that they want to have or you want them to have. And a lot of times you look at it and you say, well, is he in the gym? Is he working? Is he in the weight room? Is he working? And the fact of the matter is, Andre is working his tail off every single day. He will be a good professional, basketball player. Now he'll probably be overseas. It'll probably be in Italy because that's where he has a passport or and he's going to be able to have a good career over there. But wonderful young man. It's what's really heartwarming to me is his dad's over here. He's been here for the last 2 weeks. He'll be here on Saturday for Senior Day, and it's the first time he's had a chance to see him play in college. And so I hope he has a great game. And
I didn't know his dad didn't speak English.
No, he does not.
We had Andre come out. It was the first game that Andre was back. And Andre comes out, and his dad says, "So where's your dad?" He points behind. We're on the air. And I turn around and start talking to his dad, and his dad's just smiling at me, nodding his head. I'm like, well, you think he didn't respond? And then afterward, Andre tells me he doesn't understand what you're talking about. So.
That's kind of how I feel in post-game interviews with you, Mark.
Sure. Tad just nods his head and smiles. That dork's asking me something stupid again. I know. All right, 2 guys that have spent their careers here.
Yeah.
Javon Ruffin, we're going to have on the show here shortly.
Yeah, Ruff, another great kid from a great family, and obviously I remember his dad well from Cherry Creek, high school, and then the University of Tulsa, and great NBA career, and his mom Misty's a wonderful, wonderful woman, and comes from a great family, and Ruff is a highly intelligent guy, and is a guy that has his career is been marred by a lot of injuries. So it's been at least nice this year to have him, would I say, relatively healthy for most of the year, and has a chance to get out there and help us, and plays with a lot of moxie and experience, and I wish his career could have gone a little bit differently. But
Yeah.
you know, the bottom line is, look, Javon Ruffin and his family. The one thing I love about them and is lost in today's world is they are based on getting a great education. And you know, both his mom and dad, you know, they went to Tulsa, were engineering majors, and Javon came here thinking he was an engineering major, and then switched. You know,
Okay.
which is fine. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
college is all about.
Oh,
But the
yeah.
fact of the matter is, he comes from a family that values education, and he's going to be successful in his life because of the education he got at the University of Colorado. And certainly the basketball experience was up and it was down, and I'm glad he's at least had a chance to play and play meaningful minutes and make a contribution to this year's team.
The last one's Julian Hammond, who's you know,
Yeah.
one of those great local guy stories. Could have played college football, wants to play basketball, comes
Yeah.
here, and I think I said to you here a short time ago. I said, you know, when he walks out of here, he's going to have given you everything he had.
No doubt. And I feel like with Julian and Javon, you know, they've been really loyal to the University of Colorado in this program, and I feel like I wanted to make sure we reciprocated that loyalty, you know, with them their senior year as they came into it. And that's one of the reasons we didn't go in the transfer portal and sign a guard that we felt like could come in and, you know, do this or do that, because I really believe that Julian and Javon, you know, could help us, and they have helped us. So, but Julian is, you know, obviously his dad, you know, played for the Denver Rockets. I remember my mom and dad taking me down to the Denver Coliseum and Auditorium Arena, watching his dad, you know, play for the Rockets, and then he goes to Cherry Creek High School. He's a hell of a football player, and then comes here and you know, really played kind of behind KJ a little bit in his shadow for 3 years, and now he's had a chance to break out of. He's our leading scorer, and another wonderful young man that's a tremendous competitor who I've got a lot of respect for him.
Is his back going to be okay for Saturday?
I think it.
We think
I
so?
think it is. Yeah,
All right,
I mean, he was
all right.
looking good today. We didn't practice today. We did some shooting today, and so I hope so, and I hope it can withstand, you know, the 40 minutes against TCU, because TCU's they're gonna be physical with us, and we need Julian to be at his best for us to be at our best.
That game against TCU back on February 2nd, that was not one of the most better days that day down in Fort Worth. Give us a quick thought about this
I mean,
TCU
we
matchup.
played well early. I mean,
Yep.
we came out of the shoot. I mean, we were up 11-2,
That's right,
and we
that's
were
right.
shooting the ball well.
And down 7 at the half, and
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I rewatched. I mean, ask Coach Manning about it as his scout. Like, you know, it's like. But no, I mean, it was one of those deals where, you know, we didn't play that poorly, but you look at the stat sheet and, you know, we out-rebounded by 12.
That's right.
Good thing, you know, but then you look at the turnovers. We had 19 turnovers, and it's like, and so they're going to pressure us. They're going to get up in us, and we did some good things, but not enough good things. And so, but I think here's the one thing, Mark, I would say is I think we're a heck of a lot better team today than we were when we played them in Fort Worth a few weeks ago. And I hope we can come out and prove that and show that, because if we do, we can win on Saturday. There's no doubt about it.
Well,
but it's not going to be easy, because
No.
TCU's got toughness.
No, exactly.
The one thing about them is they play with great toughness.
What does a year like this do for you? I know that you're a competitive guy. I've known you for 15 years. What does a year like this do for you?
It whets my appetite for
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, you know, and as you know, we still believe in recruiting young high school kids and developing them, and so I want to retain our good, young, talented players in the program. You know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it here in a week or two, in terms of who wants to stay and who doesn't want to stay. But I want to retain the good, young, talented guys we have, make them understand they have to get better over the off season, bring in the freshmen, and then probably go on the transfer portal and sign one or two, you know, really, really talented players. And it whets my appetite for what's ahead, because I believe in the kids we signed in November. They came here because they believed in us and believed in our program, and we believe in them. And so yeah, I don't want to go through this again. That's for darn sure. And I know our players that are coming back won't either.
Tad had that look in his eye last night in the postgame where I said something along those lines, and he looked at me and he had that glare in his eye, and he said, "We're not doing this next year." So
Yeah, exactly.
I can see the fire was kind of getting
No, I
raised
mean,
up there.
look, it's no fun, but
Right.
enough is enough. That's my deal. It's like we got to go into this off season, attack it, but we still have some basketball to be played this year.
Yep, that's right. And it starts on Saturday at 2 o'clock at the event center with TCU. Coach, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, head coach Tad Boyle here in the Buffaloes. We got TCU coming up on Saturday at 2 o'clock. We're going to take a timeout here on Buffs Prime Time. And there I see Javon back there. Yeah, Javon, I was going to go to Danny, but he was hiding way in the back there. So Javon's going to come on up and join us. And we'll get to Coach Manning as well. Our final night on Buffs Prime Time here at Carelli's. Back in a moment. This is Colorado basketball from their field. On Buffs Prime Time as we come to you from Carelli's of Boulder, as we have all season long, our final show here tonight. Time for our final players segment, and Javon Ruffin joining us, young man of New Orleans, Louisiana. And we were just talking here during the break. Can you imagine, can you just figure out how quick this whole thing went?
Man,
We're sitting here talking about your senior day already.
it flew by.
It did.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's already been 4 years, all the teammates that I've had. I mean, the ups, the downs, wins, losses. I mean, it's hard to believe it's already been 4 years, man. I feel like I just got here.
You have seen it all during your career here. I mean, you've seen, the highs last year, 26 wins, winning a couple of games in the NCAA tournament, struggling this year, the injuries you've dealt with. They always talk about adversity helping build character, right? Or some say it exposes character. What have you learned about yourself during this period?
I've learned a lot, and I've definitely learned I don't like losing.
Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've learned a lot through all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the injuries just helped me stay strong. I mean, the years trying to weather the storm and kind of keep moving on to the next day. I mean, it's a lot, but I mean, you always make it out the other side. You just got to keep going.
Yeah. Well, what led you to Boulder when you came out of high school?
I mean, a lot of things. I mean, it's a great place. the people. I had family around Colorado.
Yeah.
And I mean, ultimately, the team, the coaches. I mean, I came here because I believe in the program, and I mean, I still do,
Right.
which is why I stayed here 4 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, there's really no downsides to it for me. I couldn't
Yeah.
find any, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe the winters, but
We're just talking during the break. How many family members you still have here in the metro? Your grandfather still here?
yeah, it's my grandpa and uncle.
Okay,
that
one
still
uncle.
have living
Okay.
around here.
All right.
Yep.
All right. And they get the games very often?
Yeah. My grandpa, he comes to pretty much every home game he can.
Okay.
At least he has these last couple years. And then my uncle, I haven't seen him at too many, but
All right.
he makes it when he can.
Okay. What's your favorite moment of being a Buff? Could be on the court, could be off the court, could be something in the locker room. What would it be?
My favorite moment. I mean, honestly, I think it goes back to freshman year. That win we had Arizona senior night.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
first senior night. I mean, that was a pretty special moment.
Yeah. Without
To
question.
send Evan out like that and
Right.
just be a part of a team that came together and won and did what we had to.
How has it been, you looking at Coach Batty compared to teammate Batty?
He's the same guy. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. I mean, he was built for coaching. I think even when he was a player, he was a guy that I looked up to, kind of a mentor. I think for not just me, but pretty much everyone on the team,
Sure.
especially the freshmen, though. So I mean, his role honestly didn't change a ton for me because I didn't even play with him our freshman year. So it was all the vocal leadership. But I mean, he's just a great voice to have, always positive. I mean, it's good to have him around this year.
Has there been any point where he got in your tail and you looked at him like, Ev, come on?
I mean, there was definitely some times he told me something. I was like, "Hey, I remember when you were a player." I can pull out some stories if I have to, but
What is it saying about this team, to borrow a phrase that Tad uses all the time? You know, there are teams late in the season when you struggle where guys are sacking the bats, right? I mean, they're kind of. You guys haven't done that. You guys have gotten better here in the month of February. You're playing better now than you were in January. This locker room has stayed together. What does that say about this group of guys?
I mean, I think it just shows that we all care about each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's easy to just want it to be over sometimes for people, but I mean, I don't think anyone's given up, and I mean, I think it shows, and I mean, we all just care about each other. That's what we're doing it for. It's not, no one's doing this selfishly anymore.
Yeah.
Not many people have much to necessarily gain. So I mean, it's all just been, how can we finish? How can we just go up on a positive note, send the program in the right direction, and just give ourselves a little bit of pride.
Who's the guy, whether it's this year or during the course of your 4 years here, that you got closest to on this team?
Closest to over my 4 years,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to say Julian.
That's right.
Yeah, I lived with him 2 of my 4 years.
Yeah.
I've seen all his highs and lows. He's been there with me through all my highs and lows. And I mean, he's a great outlet for me, someone I can always go to, I mean, he knows I'm always here for him, so he's.
I said this to Julian last week, and the same thing is for you. You're an outlier in college athletics right now because guys are bouncing around. Guys that go someplace, stay there for 4 years. They're part of the program. They're part of the culture. You're going to be one of those guys that, when we see you come back to a game, we're going to go, hey, there's Ruff, right? And you're one of us. You're one of the Buff family. That's a unique thing. Do you understand and appreciate what you and Jules have done in that regard in terms of kind of being outliers from what is going on in college athletics?
I mean, I've seen that it's not common anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, this place has had a huge impact on me.
Sure.
In all aspects of my life over my 4 years. So, I mean, if I can leave an impact or if people look at me positively when I leave, then, I mean, that's all I want.
Yeah. Well, they do. I guarantee you they do. There's no doubt about that. You're going to walk out there on Saturday. How's that going to be when they're announced, your final game as a Colorado Buffalo at home?
Crazy. A lot of emotions for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm feeling them now. But
Yeah, I bet. Hey, it's a tough deal, isn't it? I mean, you've played basketball your whole life, and now you see this stage of basketball, starting to come close to an end here. But let's keep winning some ball games and keep playing. What do you think?
hey, might as well. There's no reason not to.
Listen, I said the same thing to Julian. I'll say to you this week what I said to Jules last week. You're a Buff. You've been here. This fan base loves you. Coaches love you. Congratulations, because you've made yourself, your family proud, and this program proud. It's a nice job.
Thank you.
All right. I don't want to make you cry, so we'll wrap it up right there. That area is Javon Ruffin. He has been a great win for the Colorado Buffaloes. He's got another ball game left on Saturday at 2 o'clock. We'll hit the air at 1:30. We'll take another timeout. And Danny Manning is going to join us after the break. Our final segment here this season at Carelli's back in a moment. This is Colorado basketball from their field. Back one final time on Bus Prime Time here at Carelli's, our final segment of the season. As we come to you from the best restaurant in Boulder, Colorado. Let's give one more time. Let's give a big round of applause for JT and Greg and everyone here at Carelli's. What a great job they do. Happy to have assistant coach Danny Manning joining us. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good to have you here. Okay, we got to get to the bottom of everything now. So seriously, be honest. Here you are. You're the number one recruit in America. You come to Kansas. And one of the senior captains is Tad Boyle. Your first thoughts about that guy, what he was all about?
Well, for me, I got a chance to move to Lawrence, Kansas, my senior year of high school.
Okay.
And so I got a chance to be around those guys.
So you'd
quite
been
bit.
around them a little bit, didn't
Yes.
you? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And, Tad to me was always a coach on the floor.
Okay.
So when we're playing pickup, you could see the strategy that when he's picking his team, he's picking to win. He's picking guys that also will get him the ball, get a couple shots up every now and then. But he knew what he wanted to do, and that was something that for us, that leadership really helped us out, especially our freshman year.
Yeah.
Because he'd been in the fire before. He was someone that could steady the ship, and his communication skills and the way he related to everybody was outstanding and kind of very calming influence on our team.
Okay, now that's a great political answer. Now be honest with us and tell us, did you think this dude could barely play? Did you think that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, we talked about it the other day. I mean, we had Coach Brown brought in tremendous amount of talent and players and coaches, but for us, a lot of fun was had in the off season when we're playing pickup. We're in the gym. You're talking trash to each other. You're going up and down the court in a hot high school gym, and just having a good time. And that for us was something that we still talk about and remember to this day.
When did you know that you want to become a coach? And I ask that question because a lot of times great players don't necessarily transfer to coaching because I think a lot of times I've heard great players say. They look at an athlete and go, well, why can't you do that? I did that, right? So when did you figure out, and the time you got to put in, when did you figure out you wanted to coach?
Well, for me, there were a lot of things that went into me wanting to be a coach. There were three things that really stood out. So at the end of my career, I was more of an insurance policy professionally. And so the only way I felt like I could have an impact on the team was to talk to the guys during timeouts when they would come out of the game. Hey, this is what they're doing on ball screens. This is how they're playing you on the post, or they're shading this hand, so why don't you drive this way or attack at this angle? And then coaching my kids' teams in the summer, I really enjoyed that. And then also going through the injuries that I went through professionally. I had 3 ACLs.
Right.
And, each time you go through something like that, for me, I lost a little bit of athleticism. I had to gain it back in some way, shape, or form. And for me, it was anticipation through scouting.
Sure.
So I had a book on the Eastern Conference players, had a book on the Western Conference players that I'm studying before every game. I'm looking at the USA Today saying, okay, who played well, who didn't play well.
Right.
And that, to me, kind of gave me that coaching itch and niche. But it was also something I needed to do to survive at that level.
Danny, that says something about a decision you made. Because my guess would be there's 2 directions you can go. You're a great athlete. All of a sudden, the injuries happen. You could go the other direction, kind of get bitter about it. Or you can say, okay, how can I overcome this and grow from this, if you will? Kind of take us back to that when you were kind of going through that and how you kind of found your way through it.
Well, I was stubborn, one.
Is that right? Okay.
That was something that helped me, actually. I blew my knee out, my first knee, 26 games into my rookie year.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was considered career-threatening. Bernard King was in the midst of his comeback, who played for the New York Knicks, a tremendous player. And so for me, it was I was 6'11". My freshman year, I weighed 175, so about 200 pounds.
Did you
from
really?
Now. I did. I was.
You were Bangot Dak.
Yes, I was.
For goodness sakes.
My legs were a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger, not much, just a little. And so for me, I didn't know any other way.
Yeah.
And so I was able to come back. Had a great surgeon and Dr. Lombardo in L.A. and wonderful therapist that helped me get back. But going through that injury, it was. Okay, am I going to come back? Am I going to be as athletic? Am I going to be as nimble? Am I going to be as quick? And then it hit me. Well, you're going to be 6'10".
Yeah.
You're going to be 6'11", so maybe become just a strictly post-up player.
Right.
And, for me, it was just a lot of work, but a lot of people helped me get to that point. And I think about all the therapists. I think about all the teammates that I had would meet me at the gym late at night and help me play one-on-one and attack me and get me better. And then, you have to put yourself in tough situations. And the last time I went through my ACL, my 3rd ACL, I was playing pickup one-on-one basketball with Mike Bibby. I don't know if you remember that name. A great Arizona player, played in the NBA for a long time, and Steven Jackson. And that was the most frustrated I've ever been playing basketball because I was not quick enough to stay in front of those 2 guys.
Yeah.
And they would wear me out every day. But when I got on the court and played against somebody closer to my size, all that paid off.
Sure, I bet it did.
And so, a lot of times it's just those quiet little victories that you have, and you try to figure out different ways to help your team be successful. But, for me, my journey was a lot of fun. It helped me. My wife, Julie, my kids were there along the way, and so that's always wonderful and beneficial to have them and have that support.
Have you ever thought, because you So was it 80? What was your first year? 84 at Kansas? 85?
85.
85 is your first year. Have you ever thought about Danny Manning and what you were as a recruit and what that would mean for NIL money today?
No, we were just happy to get a cheeseburger from Coach Brown every now and then. That was it for us.
But I mean, think about. I mean, that's. Are you blown away by what's happened and where we're at right now?
I am blown away. I'm happy that some of it is happening.
Right.
Not crazy about how it's being issued or navigated, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think those guys and the young ladies that are able to put a little money in their pocket, which is great, but I think we need to put some parameters on it. It needs to be something where, hey, if you go out and you perform at this level, you get this.
Yeah.
If you don't perform at this level, you don't get this.
Right.
And right now, sometimes it's a discredit
Yeah.
for a lot of these young people because sometimes they're not holding up the end of the bargain.
It's not merit based right now.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When you came on Tad's staff, what was your idea about your goal about what did you want to bring to this program?
Well, you look at Tad, and I've known him for a very long time, but anytime a coach is somewhere for the length of time that Tad's been here, they've had success. And not only on the court, off the court. And, you get in and, you see it from the outside, and then now you get inside the doors, and you see, okay, they recruit great people. Their evaluation skills are tremendous with the people they bring in to fit into the program. And then day in and day out, Tad is so consistent in how he challenges the guys to reach their potential, how he challenges the team to come together, and the staff. A lot of those guys have been around for a while, and just their energy, you can feel their love that they have for the young people that they come in contact with every year. And then for me, this is also a new system to learn.
Sure.
In terms of the 5-out system where we have 5 guys out on the perimeter and the different cuts and the different reads. And that's something that's always fascinating to me because as a basketball player going through my injuries, it gave me a chance to, hey, maybe I'm not as fast as this guy, but if I can attack at this angle, if I can come from this spot, I can have some success. And a lot of times we can break our offense down to what Tad wants our guys to do in those concepts.
You mentioned you got the TCU scout. So you give us give the fans a scouting report on TCU for Saturday.
Scouting report on TCU. TCU is a very talented and tough team, like Tad mentioned earlier, and they're one of the teams in our league that shoot more 2-point field goals. I think they're like second in our league in 2-point field goal attempts, meaning they're going to attack the basket. They're going to get inside that 3-point line and shoot pull-up jump shots and try to get to the rim. The last game they played against Baylor, they had 20 offensive rebounds that resulted in 23 second chance points, and they had 18 points in the fast break. Now that's 41 points, and they only had 58. And so the scouting report is you want to stay in front of the basketball, you want to contest shots, and you have to go rebound. And then offensively for us, they're a team that very active defensively. They're going to switch off the ball, meaning 1, 2, 3, and 4 will switch exchanges. And so for us, we have to have hard cuts. We have to go meet the basketball, and we have to put pressure on them by attacking the paint.
All right. Danny, it's been great getting to know you this season.
Thank you very
much. He's a great addition to the staff here at Colorado. Danny Manning, the Buffaloes play their final game of the regular season on Saturday. It's a 2 o'clock game, 1:30 with the pregame. Scott and I will hit the air on the network at the Event Center. One more time, give a big round of applause for JT and everybody here at Carelli's. It's our final show of the season. We thank them. You guys have been great. You fans have been great. Thanks for joining us all season long. This is Colorado Basketball.